Well, how good is this? Today I get to sit down with Daniel Sharman, is a guy I trust in allied health because he speaks the truth. Daniel, what are you looking forward to today?
Looking forward to the opportunity to sit down. Obviously, we've spent some time working together. We've spent some time talking, discussing well before we worked together. So just looking to spend a bit more time talking to you. You know that I love talking about business. I love talking about the NDIS. It's just part of me, and it's all I do. So just really looking forward to spending some time doing what I enjoy.
That's great. Well, I'm looking forward to people getting a whole lot out of your learning experience because not everyone started with zero participants and ended up a few years later with 1,000. And then something else I'd love to ask Daniel is you have a very different approach to how you market your allied health than others. Most allied health marketing that I see done is very pretentious. It's very look at us. Oh, we're the experts. We're important. Oh, yes, you can sit on our wait list for 6 months and then might consider inviting you. Whereas your approach is so different. And when you and I were planning out website and other things, you were like, I just want to tell the truth. I just want to be real. I just want to say it in the most straightforward way possible. How does that work in allied health, Daniel? And why isn't everyone doing it that way? Is there something you're exchanging out to do it that way and to just be like Aussie about it? What am I missing there?
So probably the first thing to say is that I was a culprit of it originally anyway. So, and I do get it. I do understand people coming from the world of it needs to appear professional, it needs to be polished. I get it. I could go and get an old Seek ad and read you how I described our work environment. And it, I made it up myself. ChatGPT wasn't really much of a thing 5, 6 years ago. But you would think ChatGPT made it up anyway, despite the fact that I do promise I wrote it. I don't know what I was thinking, but the where I think that comes from is that health in general is seen as a really clinical thing. Allied health was part of that. It was seen as a really clinical setting, and it was seen as prescriptive, which parts of it still are out of necessity. But what we have seen with the NDIS, what we are going to see, I don't talk about things I don't know a lot about, so I won't talk heaps about the support at home, but I've got little snippets out of there that I think we will see similar, is that we've moved fully away from this clinical approach and clinical environment to a really like collaborative approach where we're utilizing community, where we're utilizing what someone's strengths are, what their dislikes are. That was what the NDIS was designed to do. So it's working in that sense. I see more and more of that now. And I think that in my opinion anyway, I would rather spend time with a few less people, getting to know them in depth really, really well and what they want to achieve, and then setting out and working about achieving that with them, as opposed to having a playlist of 20 things that I do, and I can just go and meet 100 different clients and prescribe one of 20 options. It's the GP approach. And I've not met a GP who looks that happy while they're doing it anyway. I don't think it's inspiring. I don't think anyone feels like they're really inspiring when they do that. But um, what we see when we're working collaboratively, when we're working in person with people, is that you build relationship, and what you can achieve with someone you have a relationship with is just going to be greater than someone who's popping in and seeing you once every month. They might trust you with a whole different version of information, a whole different outlook on the things I'm struggling with, if I feel like you're reliable and you're not going to just leave and walk away and that sort of thing. So we've narrowed in on that in our marketing a lot. Um, I am not afraid now to tell people, and I was at the start, I'm not afraid now to tell people my views on the best way to build capacity, my views on why a community-based approach works really well, why I don't think we should use formal language and we should speak to people one-on-one as if they're just a person, not as if they're someone who needs to be the description of the clinical description of whatever it is that they're associated with. Um, and I think I've told you this in the past. One of my favorite sayings, and I say it now more than ever, is you're more than your NDIS goals, is one of the things that we repeat in not just our marketing, but also our conversations with people when we're meeting them. We repeat it on the phone when we're getting phone calls in. NDIS goals are important, but they can change. They age, they become no longer relevant. My focus when I'm meeting with someone is that I want to know what you as a person want. And putting that into our marketing is tricky for sure. It would be much easier to just say, we have availability. And I've done that. We have availability. Come in and see us. That's a really easy way to market. Unfortunately, you just look like everyone else. There's no, if I want a GP appointment, I can just go to the first person available. That's fine. When I need antibiotics for a cold, I'm probably just going to do that, is the truth. When I want to build a relationship with someone, when I want to have them know me in and out, when I want them to understand what, as an individual, where I am at and where I want to go, I'm going to look for someone who's marketing that way. I'm going to look for someone who is different. And so we try and be different in the way we market as best we can.
That makes sense. And do you cop any, well, this is a silly question, but it's relevant. Do you ever stand in front of the mirror and go, yeah, I'm glad that my way of telling the world what we do is in plain English? Or do you ever have this part of you that goes, do you realize you're missing out by doing that? Or do you have others telling you you're missing out? Or are you just like, this works, this is how we grew from 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, and it's how we're going to grow to 2,000? Like, how confident are you in that?
Supremely confident. I'm going to make sure I cut out all the details of this. When we first started, my general manager now, we didn't have titles back then, there was just two of us. We sat down and we pinpointed a particular provider who we thought they didn't talk to people appropriately, they didn't value people appropriately, and for a range of reasons. And we just said, like, one day, I'd love to beat these people. Just in our town, not they're nationwide, but just in our town, we'd love to beat them. And I said that we can do that if we are just way, way better at communicating with people and making them feel valued. If we are way more reliable, which also makes people feel valued. And then on the other side of it was the team building side, was if we just dive heavily into structured support and making people feel like they have someone they can ask a question to an allied health professional, and a massive, massive shift and focus towards continued professional development, more than just what a big research and development company teaches you, but looking at like individuals who have just been there, done that, achieved some amazing stuff, and are willing to share that knowledge for money. So we focused on those things. Providers is still around, but they're, in contrast to us, they're quite small in the town that we started in. And that to me was the proof, and it's why we've expanded essentially over time, is that I still truly, truly believe in the way we do things. And I still believe in our approach to building teams. I think that we could beat a lot of different people who don't value those things and don't see it the way we do. Time will tell.
Well, I think this is really exciting because, like I said, you could go, we have capacity. We're so person-centered. Like, you could just go down that path and all you do is, I don't know, preach to yourself or something. I guess another thing that really struck me and obviously you and I have worked a lot together in the last couple of months, but something that struck me hearing from you, hearing from your other staff, hearing from, like, seriously, every man and their dog, is that you don't want to do allied health in the office. You want to go to people's schools. You want to go to their home. You want to go to the park next door. And your idea of good allied health is to kick a ball around with someone and have a chat. And that is so not the stereotype, and it's so inconvenient.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to program for. It's hard to schedule for. It's hard to put that in words on a website. What is the story there, and why are you guys so adamant that allied health needs to happen out there, not in this office?
Honestly, I just believe in it so heavily. I have a personal belief, and there are members, and it's why they're part of our team. There are members on our team that have a personal belief that it is the best way to do things. And I can 100% agree that it is not the smartest way to do it as a business. It would be way easier to sit in a room, book back to back, have an online booking system, maximize calendar, maximize utilization, not have to worry about traveling a bit here, traveling a bit there. Oh, it'd be like so easy as a business. And it works really well for some businesses like physios who do musculoskeletal stuff. That 100% makes sense. I just think we can do better. I just think that we can achieve more in doing it. I think about so when I started, I thought about what would I want if I was the client or the customer. I think that any business benefits from putting that hat on as well. What would I benefit from? And then I looked at what are the things that I feel like worked well that I've seen in the past. So my mum was a disability support worker from when I was like 10 or 11 or something like that. And I've seen the trips to the movies. I've seen the barbecue days and all that, and I've seen those being repeated week on week and what they look like. And so I've seen that there was a freeze, there was a bit of a stop on trying to do anything differently, and then in my own working life saw that when we met people at a place that was important to them, because I've come from an education background. I worked in schools. So I was mostly working with young people in schools before I started in the NDIS. It just showed, I believe, like, showed me that if I went somewhere where you were more comfortable and you got more out of it, I just don't believe it matters to me having to do that, even if it's a bit inconvenient, because it shouldn't matter. I just don't think it should matter. I think it should be about what suits you as a person the most. And then I need to get as much of the barriers and the things that are getting in the way and get rid of them. Because that was kind of what the whole point of the NDIS was to begin with, was to reduce barriers and meet people where it was important to them. Um, and there's also a lot of backup now. There's a lot of research. I would be lying if I said I could quote any of it. But if you look at the early childhood best practice guidelines on Early Childhood Australia or Victoria and all these other places, natural environments is something that is mentioned repetitively. So now, and probably why I have a lot of conviction is now I have a wealth of data that says this is working really well for the people that we help. And I can go out and I can find an actual research firm who says it works really well, which is nice. That gives you the backup to say I'm not doing the wrong thing. Um, and I just think that it's the way life's meant to be as well. I just don't think you should have to do things in a 4x4 white room. There's a time and place for that sort of stuff. It is what it is. We still have them. We still have clinical rooms because it sometimes there is a time for it, but it makes up like 8% of the time for us. It's very little. Um, so yeah, I guess that like the summary of that is I just truly believe it at my core. Um, I'm unwavering in my belief that it's the right thing to do.
Well, when you think about it, you've even your current 1,000 participants, you're seeing what you're doing work.
Yep.
So someone else can come and tell you that it's not financially efficient or whatever, but it
Yep.
works. You're here to do stuff that works.
Yeah.
Daniel, crazy question. All right.
Mhm.
When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Like, do you see a bloke you're proud of? Do you see a bloke who's worn out? Do you see a bloke who is living his life's purpose? Or do you see a bloke who's actually struggling and faking it till he makes it? Like, what do you see when you look in the mirror?
Good question. Lots of grey hair, but that's okay. I joke with my general manager. I say, you get one thing, you either lose it or it goes grey. He's losing it, I'm going grey. We're getting older. It is what it is. You get over it. When I look in the mirror, what I see is that I am someone who does what they want and what they believe in. And when I am doing that, I try and put people first. And I have been rewarded for doing that time and time again. So I think I'm doing the right thing. It is definitely hard when you don't have the proof that it's going to work. When we changed the way we structured employment contracts to have a huge amount of continued professional development, still more than anything I've seen from anywhere else so far. I didn't know that was going to work. All I knew was going to reduce our profit. The only guarantee was we're going to lose money. But I thought that in the long run, we would build an incredible team, and I've been rewarded, and we've done that. So I I think that when I look in the mirror, I see someone who's yeah, who's doing what they want to do and trusting their gut and going for it. Um, I absolutely have imposter syndrome from time to time. I am not sure of anyone who doesn't. Um, because to be fair, if you're trying to improve, you're trying, whether it's improve your business or improve something else, if you're trying to improve, then by nature, you're trying to do something that you don't know how to do yet. So you should, in some ways, feel a bit of imposter syndrome. I've not been the person who runs the business with 10 people. I've not been the business who runs the business with 20 people. I've not had 1,000 clients that I need to worry about and that you know, all those sort of things. You get a bit of imposter syndrome with those. Um, but it's what I want to do. And so I just put my mind to it and I give it a crack. And I'm really happy with where it is. Um, I don't try and do lots and lots and lots of stuff in my life because then I think I'd be bitterly disappointed. But it's like it's this. It is my wife, my daughter, my business are the three things that right now in this season of my life are the only three things that I truly matter to me, and that I put a lot of thought into. Um, I think I'm a good husband. I think I'm a good dad. And I think I'm pretty good at business. So I'm pretty happy with where I am. So I'm pretty happy when I look in the mirror. It's probably a really long answer.
It's a good answer. It's an honest answer. And I love how you reframed imposter syndrome into actually it's just part of the growth. Like that's really helpful. Like I got something out of that. And I was chatting a couple of weeks ago with a person who they run a business that's somewhere, I don't know, 40 to 60 mil revenue annually. And they were telling me about their imposter syndrome. I'm like, man, who am I standing beside you? Like, maybe it's this universal thing. I don't know. What
Yes.
are we going to do with that? Like, how do we equip our next generation of young NDIS providers coming through to realize it's okay to learn? It's okay to not know stuff. Like, how do we do that?
Yeah. I think that reiterating what I said is really important that if you are learning, you are growing. And if you are growing, you are doing something that you do not know how to do. So therefore, you are technically at the moment an imposter. It's true. You're an imposter. Um, I like to try and use the frame of mind that when something is hard, it means that someone else is not going to do it. So I might as well. I think that hard things often are the ones that are worth doing the most, whether you look at that as financial worth, whether you look at that as personal growth worth, or just your self-efficacy, like it makes you feel better. Usually, when you do harder things, um, and what's the alternative? Stop. Like, no thanks. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop trying to be better. I'm not gonna stop trying to challenge things that I don't think are right. Because then going back to looking in the mirror, I'm gonna have a real tough time if I think I'm doing something that isn't right or I think I'm conforming. We've had pivots in business and pivots in the way we do things across the years where I had a change in what I believed, but I've never done something that I didn't, where it wasn't a belief change for me. Like I will still follow my beliefs, and I think other people should as well. And I think if people are new providers and they're thinking, what can I do? Why, like, how do I get through this? What do I do next? Why is this so hard? Why does this provider who's treating people poorly have 30 times the clients I have? Why are they bigger?
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
question.
they've probably just been there a bit longer. Um, but it doesn't mean they'll be there forever. Everything's beatable. Um, you know, I don't add anyone on MySpace anymore. MySpace was undefeatable when I was like it was the golden child. And a bunch of businesses just decided that they thought they could do better. And I think you can apply the same thing in the NDIS. I think you can decide that if you truly believe you can do better, do it, talk about it, tell everyone that will listen, show them your passion, show them your conviction, show them proof, and eventually it'll work out, I think.
I just think that's remarkable. I love it. Daniel, you have just given absolute gold today to so many people. I appreciate your time. I know that if people want to get in contact with you, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see Daniel's email address there. If you're listening to it on audio, Google DLS Allied Health and you'll find him pretty quickly. Either that or I did a bad job for you, Daniel. Okay. So it's like Daniel is happy to help people, and I'd encourage anyone to get in touch with him. Even if you're a director of, say, a company and you're struggling and you just wanted someone to ask some questions of, Daniel, how would you feel about that?
Absolutely. Send me a connection on LinkedIn and send me a message there. Don't write with ChatGPT or I'll ignore it. But otherwise, send me a message.
Okay,
I
Daniel, I
can't
have,
reiterate that more.
yeah,
Don't use AI for personal messages, please.
okay, or at least somewhat mask it. Anyway,
Yeah, do something. Try and change a bit of it. But
I
no,
love it.
it's fine. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I doom scroll LinkedIn like most people doom scroll Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
I love it. Good on you, Daniel. Well, you have a good one. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.